Yo, what's up? Today I'm going to talk about my predictions for WoW Classic. With Ulduar releasing not too long ago, and the next phase of Wrath soon approaching, what will come after Wrath? Let's talk about it right now. Talking about the current Classic timeline first, what I mean by timeline is the latest version in the timeline, like Wrath Classic is right now. There's still a healthy player base playing Wrath, with a lot of active raiders and people doing PvP. What's going to come after that? I think they will actually move on to Cataclastic because it's worked for Blizzard so far. Why would they stop there? The real question is, how many people actually want Cataclastic and how many people would play Cataclastic if it released? If they do Cataclastic, I'm sure they will buff and nerf classes as needed, kinda like they did recently with Paladins and Wrath, to make sure every class is at least viable in the endgame. I'm sure they will do some quality of life things to make the experience better in the first time around like they've been doing with Wrath also. Who knows, maybe people will actually play it. I honestly think the player base will start to dwindle on the Classic timeline if they do actually release Cata, but that's just my own opinion. Moving on to Classic Era, it's interesting because recently within the last 2 months or so, the player base for the Classic Era realms has rapidly been growing. What's made people want to move back to Classic Era rather than play Wrath? I think people have been getting a little bored and miss the plain old vanilla version of the game. The hardcore community has also been growing and bringing people back to the old game as well, which I'll talk about here in a bit. I for one have been getting a little bored of Wrath recently outside of doing arenas with the boys. If you can't tell, I'm a PvP player. I found myself starting to log into Classic Era more and more recently, and I've been on Dragonflight a little bit too. I think a big part of it is that the old version of the game is a lot more slow paced and chill. People aren't playing Classic Era to worry about their parses or grind arena rating. Vanilla's a lot more about the experiences you have while leveling, the friends you make along the way, and the community, and I think people miss that. Don't get me wrong, there are times where people can get sweaty in Classic Era, but overall, the game is just so good in every aspect. The leveling experience, the community, the professions, the world, the raids, and of course the PvP in Vanilla is great, outside of the grueling honor grind if you did that. I think everyone should play Vanilla WoW at least once through. It's just such a good fucking game. Now, moving on to the community, hardcore, seasonal events, and private servers. I think it's really cool to see the hardcore community thriving with all the events they have been doing. Most recently the Hardcore All-Stars World Tour, which is a hardcore event where people are going to run a series of dungeons, speedrunning them on level 22s, and if a character dies, he dies for good. And it's season 1, so they're going to do multiple of these at some point. I'll put a link down below for all that info if you want to check it out. There's also recently been a data mine and rumors of official hardcore servers, so that would be sick if they actually do have that. I think we will get a Season of Mastery 2, especially if the Era servers are going to continue to have a growing player base like we've been seeing. I don't know if we'll get a Vanilla Plus, it would be cool to see, but I don't mind even just a fresh Vanilla server where you and your friends can go hang out. I'm sure Psalm 2 will have some sort of change too, where it's like, you know, like Psalm 1 had the raids being a little bit harder. I'm sure they'll do something different with this next one. We'll see what they come up with. On the topic of Classic Plus, I'm not going to talk about private servers too much, but there's a private server that's doing that right now called Turtle WoW that a lot of people have been talking about recently. I think when Wrath gets closer to the end, we will start to see more private servers popping up here and there trying to bring people in. To wrap this video up, I think we will get Cataclysm. I think Blizzard's at least going to try it. I think we will see more people starting to play on the Classic Era realms as time goes on. The hardcore community will continue to thrive and do what they do best with their community-driven events. I think the future for WoW Classic is actually looking pretty good. What's crazy to me is seeing how there's all these different versions of WoW Classic that people are enjoying to play. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below and tell me what you think the future has in store for WoW Classic. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/StephenBones. Go follow my channel. Right now I stream every Monday and Saturday. Come hang out. Thank you for watching the video. See you later, boys.